mentality or with attitude of the fact that Brother Brent said last night as we closed out, and we'll look at that just a little bit more tonight, that we're strangers and pilgrims, and to have that mentality that we're really not at home. There's a song, I think it's the Collinsworth family that sings it, that saints love to sing about heaven. Saints love to sing about home. And when you think about those things, I was thinking about driving down the road. I mentioned this one time before. I'd never really thought about it. And I don't know if okay, it is. Didn't know if I'd have enough signal to put it up. The song, We'll Work Till Jesus Comes. Most everybody here knows that song. Have you ever thought about the verses of it? I like to go back and look up at who wrote them and the story behind them. And if I've got the story straight, this was written by Elizabeth Mills. I think she was originally a king. But she died real young in life, and she wrote this right before she died. Listen to the words. This is not going to be the main point. But, O land of rest, for thee I sigh. When will the moment come when I shall lay my armor by and dwell in peace at home? I'm not going to read the chorus. Everybody knows it. No tranquil joys on earth I know, no peaceful sheltering dome. This world's a wilderness of woe, this world is not my home. To Jesus Christ I fled for rest, He bade me cease to roam, and lean for comfort on His breast, till He conduct me home. I sought it once my Savior's side, no more my steps shall roam. With Him I've braved death's chilling tide, and reach my heavenly home. You know that even the song, We'll Work Till Jesus Comes, revolves around the thought of heaven, that it motivates, it incentivizes, it's whatever word you want to come up with. Those of you kids in school, when something is a catalyst, what does that mean? It's that of which that fuels, it's that of which that gives energy to. And so if we could maybe keep that on our minds and in our minds tonight as we study through some of this, that it is to be a motivation, it's to be an incentive, it's to be a catalyst. And it's not something that we dread, and this is going to be a common thread throughout the thought this evening, that it's something we look forward to. It's something we long for. And I trust that maybe we could get that on our mind. What's one of the best parts of going on vacation?
Don't know.
Yeah. A lot of you laugh about that. But y'all ever started home and just drove? It's just like you just couldn't harden. The closer you got to home, the what? The faster you go. That's exactly right. Do y'all believe we're not far from the Lord coming back?
Amen.
Doesn't it just kind of fling a craving to get out of here? These folks are crazy. Literally, right? Don't you believe with all your heart we live in a world full of reprobates? I don't question it. I believe that with all my heart.
Yeah.
Folks don't have any sense. That's what a reprobate is. Somebody don't have any sense. And so it gives you a desire to make that journey toward home. John 14, most everybody knows these verses. Let's look at them. Let not your heart be troubled. Now, we already talked about the setting of it when we read from John 17, the context. Jesus is preparing His disciples for His ascension, and that He's going to be going away, and they're sad that He's going away, and they just distraught. I can't come up with a good word, but anyway, they all been out of shape, and He said, don't worry about it. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house. I like that statement. In my Father's house are many mansions, where my Father is housed, where He is, in His residence, if you want to use another word, His residency, are many mansions. And if you go on over to verse 23, give you another word, the exact same word, it's just translated different. John 14:23. If a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. That's the same words, the word mansions that is used there. It's a place of abode. When Jesus called his apostles to follow him, what did he tell them? He said, the foxes of the earth have holes. The birds of the air have nests. But what's the rest of that? But he don't have any place to what? To lay his head. And these disciples, when they followed the Lord Jesus Christ, they were always moving around. They were staying with other places. When Jesus went from Galilee down to Jerusalem, he stayed at Airbnb. Whose did he stay at? Mary and Martha and Lazarus' house, right? And that's just at Bethany, right outside the edge of Jerusalem. And he would go and he would stay with them. And he's always moving around. He's constantly traveling. We're going to get to Abraham in just a few minutes. Abraham and Sarah, I've often said this about Abraham. I can understand Abraham living in a tent, but Sarah being content to live all those days in a tent. How many of you women would have been willing to do that and would just enjoyed it? Yeah. But that's what it wasn't all she knew, because what did she leave in Ur of the Chaldees? She had lived in luxury before then. Abraham wasn't, a poor old jackleg farmer. Abraham was well-to-do. And when he packed up and left, he had a whole country that moved with him. And so to speak, several hundred people. And she left all that and lived the rest of her time as a Bedouin, as like a Semite, a person that moves around all the time, that never really, we look at people like that today and we say, man, they need some roots. They need to be more stable. They need to be a little more rooted. But we need to be less rooted. Okay? We put down too many roots here. I heard a statement made one time that we need to be real careful about holding on to the things of this world too tight so it won't hurt so bad when God has to pry our hands off of them. Does that make any sense? Okay? Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions, many places of abode. If it were not so, I would have told you. And here you go. I go to prepare a place. There's your topos, the topography, a place for you. Okay? What are some words that are used to describe, and y'all going to have to help me, what are some words that are used to describe a mentality, a mindset of a place where everything is perfect and everything is blissful and everything's just right? What are some words to describe that? Utopia. I like that word. A utopia. What else? Like a nirvana. I know this is going to sound real silly, but around our house, well, if you want to go somewhere where everything's perfect, you go into Dilly-Wa-Dilly. It's not actually a place, it's just an idea. It's a thought. You see, heaven is not a figment of the imagination. Heaven is not floating on a cloud with some naked little baby plucking on a harp that's got wings. It's not. To a lot of people, heaven is just an idea. It's just a thought, but it's not. Jesus said, I'm going to prepare a place for you. And I know that this is all type, figures, and shadows of a Jewish wedding, and I understand that, and we're not going to deal with that so much tonight. But as he would go away and prepare a place, and he says this statement, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again. And this is the part I want you to get. And I'm going to receive you unto myself. Listen carefully, that where I am, there you may be also. And that's the part I want to deal with. That where I am, there you may be also. What makes hell hell? Please don't say fire and brimstone. Hell is a what? No, please interact. Hell is a God-forsaken place. What makes hell hell?
Separation from God.
God's not there. What about the 3 Hebrew children thrown in the fiery furnace? How many times was it heated hotter than it normally is heated? 7 times. What happened to the men that threw them in? Well, what happened to the boys that got thrown in? They didn't just stay alive.
No burn.
They not only didn't burn, what's the only part about them that did burn? The things that held them.
Yeah, they were walking around.
They didn't even what? They didn't smell actually. You can walk in a pick-a-pack where they frying chicken or making pizza and walk out, and you'll smell like that for the rest of the day. Right? It was hot up in there. But not to them, because why? He saw a 4th man that was likened to, his figure was likened to the Son of God. And they were in there and they talked, and I'm not going to deal with all that. But to understand that hell's a God-forsaken place. Understand also on the fact that in the presence of God, wherever Jesus is, that's heaven. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but we often think about this place where we're going and the place, and we focus on the place and we forget about the thing that makes the place what it is because Jesus is there. I don't want y'all to take this wrong. But a lot of people talking about heaven, they're looking forward to that glad reunion day. How long does it take you to get ready to want to go home when you go to a family reunion? Seriously. Not long. Not when you got a family like we've got. You know, I've heard some people say, boy, that empty nest, they just dreading the empty nest. It's not all that bad. Really, it's not. One fellow said the best lights he've ever seen is the tail lights of his kids' car when they come to get the grandkids. Now, understand, listen, but heaven is not going to be heaven because the rest of our family's there. Heaven is not going to just be heaven because of the scenes that are there. Where's the most beautiful place you've ever been to in this world? Y'all help me. Mine's Glacier National Park. It's one of the prettiest places I've ever been. The Rocky Mountains? What? Rocky Mountain National Park? In Colorado. What about y'all? Where's the prettiest place you've ever been besides home? Bryce Canyon. Otherworldly, huh? Where else? I can't hear you. I knew that was coming. I knew that was going to be somewhere. You think about that, but it doesn't matter. People that live down around the beach, where they go to on vacation? To the mountains. Where the people that live in the mountains will go on vacation? Down to the beach. It's like we're never satisfied where we are. We always want to see something different. We ought to see something a little. But understand that if Christ were not in heaven, it'd get old after a while. And I know I'm thinking naturally. I'm thinking carnally. And I understand doing that. But Jesus said that where I am, there you may be also. What were they worried about? What was it that was troubling them? He was leaving them. He said, don't worry about it. I'm going to send the Holy Comforter. I'm not going to leave you comfortless. What does that word mean? I'm not going to leave you orphaned. It comes from the Greek word where we get our word an orphan. I'm not going to leave you like an orphan. I'm going to send the Holy Comforter. He's going to be with you. He's going to abide with you. He's going to abide in you. And by the way, what did the angels say in Acts chapter 1? This same Jesus whom you've seen go away will likewise come again in like manner. But listen to what Jesus is telling them, boys. I'm going to come back and I'm going to get you and I'm going to receive you unto myself. It's like a marriage. We're going to be together again. One more time. And they were longing for that. They were hungry for that. Jesus hadn't even left and they already missed him. But he says, let not your heart be troubled. Don't let that be the thing that just gets next to you so bad. Let me give you, I didn't plan on reading this, but since we're talking about this, let me just do it real quick. In 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. I want you to notice the wording of this. I've missed this for so long. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. Do you dread the second coming of Christ, or you look forward to it? Do you have an opinion? Do you care? Sure. Looking forward to it. Okay? Now, we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and notice this next statement, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter from us, that the day of Christ is at hand. By our gathering together unto him. You can back up to 1 Thessalonians. Again, I didn't plan on reading these verses, but 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17 and 18. We always read this at a graveside. Don't always, but sometimes do. This is not just something that you need to read at a graveside service. He said, I don't want you to sorrow as others which have what?
No hope.
No hope. Isn't that what we talked about Monday night? Heaven is a hope that is laid up for us in heaven. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to do what? Meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we what? Be with the Lord. Wherefore do what? Scare each other to death with these words. There's comfort in knowing that we're going to be in the presence of the Lord. Let me give you a quick example. After Jesus was crucified and buried, where were the disciples? Where did they gather together? Not specifically, but in general. They were gathered together in an upper room. They had the doors locked, did they not?
Yeah.
Why were the doors locked? They were fearful. They were fearful. They were afraid. Then Jesus just steps into the room, walks in. And I'd like to scare the ever-living daylights out of them. It would have me too. And then what Jesus say? It is I. What's the next words? Be not afraid. Their circumstances and situations didn't change, but the presence of Jesus changed their frame of mind. Did that make any sense? It was the same situation that they were in before, but the presence of Jesus changed everything. And all of a sudden it's like, whew. Everything's going to be all right. The presence of the Lord. Psalm 23. Y'all don't have to turn there. Everybody knows it. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Okay? You go on down and he talks about thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. But he talks about surely goodness and mercy, of a surety, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall what? Dwell. Key in on that word. Dwell in the house of the Lord forever. What's that supposed to do to us? That's all right. It's supposed to kick you in the britches. It's supposed to motivate you, to incentivize you, to wind you up and get you where you can go a little further. We already talked about Job and the patience, the endurance of Job. Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8, verse 18. Romans chapter 8, verse 18. Down here, we have all kind of problems and sickness and troubles on every hand. Man is born of woman is a few days and full of trouble. But Romans 8:18. Paul was a redneck, wasn't he? I know that's silly. I reckon. What does that word even mean? What kind of a word is reckon? An accounting term. What does it mean? I've added up all the figures, and this is the conclusion that I've come to. I've run the numbers. I have ran the numbers. And this is what it's come to. I reckon that the sufferings of this present time, weighted out one against the other, are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. What was Paul telling these people, these Roman Christians? What was he telling them to do? Weigh your troubles up against what you've got waiting on you. Not just the fact that you're going to be in the presence of God, but compare it. What is the hardest, what's the right word? What is the hardest state of life? What is the hardest part of life to go through? Age-wise. Yeah, what's the hardest stage of life to go through? Yeah, if I come to the place I have to wear diapers, somebody has to change them for them. I hope I do lose mine. Anyway, that might not have been funny to you, but we might as well laugh at ourselves. That's what we call coming to. What's the hardest part of life? It's the one you're in right now. What's the easiest one? It's the one you just went through. What was the point of that? What was the reason for that? The Lord is saying, look, you can't just go through life focusing what you're on now. You've got to do what Jesus did. What did he do in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2 and 3? He endured the cross, despising the shame. How did he endure it? Who for the what? Joy that was what? Set before him. And he did what? He endured the cross, despised the shame, for the joy that was set before him. He knew it won't be long. That's one of my favorite songs in this hymn book we've got now. It won't be very long. To this short life shall end. It won't be very long till Jesus shall descend. And then the dead in Christ from beds of clay shall rise to meet the Lord and King up yonder in the skies. Did we sing that like gloom, despair? Y'all remember Hee Haw? Nagging? No, we sing that with a little vibe. We sing it with a little kick. We sing that with joy. It won't be very long. I'm glad I don't hear it much anymore. You used to hear people pray, just tarry a little longer, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
Don't you pray that. Hey, some of us ready to go home.
Yeah.
You say, well, what about all these that are lost? Well, all I got to tell you is you better hurry up and get saved. Because there's some of us praying for the Lord to come back. We're tired of it now. I used to work for a man who was a roofer, and there was another man, an older man, used to come around, and he would get up there and he'd nail on shingles a little bit. He didn't have to work. He just come up there and did it, and he'd nail on a few. And then he said, I'm tired of it now. I think I'm going to go home. And I don't know about you all, but I'm tired of it now. About had a bait. Turn, if you would, 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Y'all know these verses. What did Paul say? Peter, I want to stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. A double-minded man, we've already said it, is unstable in all of his ways. Part of being double-minded is we can't decide whether we want to stay here or where we want to go home. Part of being double-minded is being carnally minded and being spiritually minded, and we can't decide which one we're going to be. Brother Brent, some of the most aggravating people to pastor are folks that can't decide whether they want to be faithful or not. It's like make up your mind one way or the other. Because they'll get to coming for a little while, and they'll be faithful a little while. Next thing you know, they're off going somewhere else. They're unpredictable, unstable, okay? But one of the things that helps us to be stable is that being heavenly minded. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 15. I'm going to read from here just a minute. But I can hear Brother Billy Mack quote it just as clear as a bell. Therefore be ye. You know? And he could quote it faster than anybody I've ever heard quote it. Be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Be ye steadfast, unmovable. What's the word? Always abounding. That means progressively getting better in the work of the Lord. For as much you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. To understand that there's coming a day it's going to be better. We all know it. But one more time, verse 17, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment. By the way, what is a moment? You kids in school, you might get a kick out of this. What's the word moment in the Greek word? What? It is the word atom. It's the same word used in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, in a moment, twinkle of an eye. In this day and time, in the Greek language, atom was the smallest particle that they knew anything about. And a moment means, how do you describe that? It is the smallest increment of time of which time can be divided out into and it still be time. I don't know if that made any sense. What's the smallest increment of time that we know anything about? That thing's a lot faster than a second. You got milliseconds. And, you know, time can be broken down even today, very much smaller. And for it to still be time, one fellow said one time he was so fast he could turn the lights off and be in bed before the lights went off. That's fast. Yeah. But look, I know that's silly. But that is the mindset that Paul is telling the church at Corinth to have. Our light affliction, which is but for. What's he comparing it to? Eternity. Anything in this world is just a atom, A-T-O-M, compared to eternity. But we get so caught up in the moment that we lose sight of eternity. Okay? And while we look not to things which are seen, I didn't even finish the verse. It worketh far as far more exceeding the eternal weight of glory. While we look not to things which are seen, but to things which are not seen, the things which are not seen are temporal, or things which are seen are temporal, the things which are not seen are eternal. Go down to chapter 5, and let's deal with 6, 7, and 8. And then we'll close with not this verse, but this idea or this thought. Verse 6, therefore we are always confident. What gives you confidence? What's the next word? He didn't say, I feel like. He didn't say, I think. He said, I what?
No.
How do you know anything? Well, it goes back where we started. The very first verse that we started out in Monday night, Colossians chapter 1, that you have a hope which is laid up for you in heaven. And that hope comes from what you know in the Scriptures. Okay? We're confident, knowing that whilst we're at home in the body, we're absent from the Lord. Then in parentheses, for we walk by faith, not by sight. The only way you're going to ever be heavenly minded is you're going to have to learn to walk by faith. Walk by believing in what you can't see. Walk by trusting in what you can't see. That goes against human nature.
Yeah.
But then he says in verse 8, and I want you to notice the wording here carefully. We are confident, I say, and willing, rather, to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. He didn't just say we're confident, but he said we're confident and we're willing. And most everybody knows the verse. I'm not even going to ask you to turn, but those of you that are taking notes, Philippians chapter 1, verse 22 and 22. Philippians chapter 1, 21, 22, and 23. We'll just read verse 23. For I am in a strait betwixt two, having a what? A desire to depart and be with Christ, which is what? Far better. But he said he had a desire. He also said that we're confident and willing. How can a person be willing to die? Well, you got to know it's better. What do we say about people that die and they've been sick and they're decrepit and their body's all just in a mess? What do we say when people die like that? They what?
Better off.
They're better off. Do we really believe that?
I do.
Now, y'all listen to what your pastor said, and I believe him. I believe with what he's saying. But if we really believe they're better off, why don't we want to go? Why aren't we willing? Paul didn't just say, I'm confident that when I leave this life, I'm going to be with the Lord. He didn't just say, I'm confident in that. He said, I'm willing. First, I'll try that again. Philippians chapter 1, verse 23. The statement that he made was, and I'm not only willing, he said, I have a desire to depart and be with Christ. Now, I understand that Paul didn't have any grandbabies. I understand that. and I see that part. And I have complete compassion on that. But you got to weigh it all out. You got to reckon it. And understand, real quick, and then I've got one more place I want us to read. I used to give Job's wife down in the country. And I still do pretty bad. But what did she tell Job to do? Why did she tell him that? I know he said that she spake as a foolish woman, but what was her thinking behind saying that? Say that again. He would be better off. But what made it foolish was the cursing God part. It wasn't the dying part that was foolish. It was how he was going to die. That's a bit about like committing suicide. That's foolish. Does that make sense? There's nothing right about it. But she was looking at it. Let's look at what she was looking at. She was looking at a shell of a man. What had she done? She done reckoned it out. Hope this don't sound goofy, but y'all ever prayed for God to go ahead and take somebody on out? Yeah. Daddy, my stepdaddy, he said, y'all quit praying for me to get better. You pray for me, God, hurry up and come get me. You watch somebody get sick enough, you can start praying for them. You know they're not going to get to feeling better. So what do you start praying for? God, when you're ready, take them on. And when they die, it's a what? Y'all don't look at me like I'm crazy. When a person is suffering like that dies, what is it? It's a relief. You're sad they're gone. But you know what? They're not hurting anymore. Yeah. That's the confidence we have. That's the hope of heaven. And I'm going to tell you what, it even makes death easier. And I want to give you something that's going to lead us into tomorrow night. 2 Peter chapter 3. I'm not going to spend any time with this one. Verse 12, verse 13, and verse 14. What is a common statement that is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 12, 13, and 14. What is the common statement in all those verses? 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 12, 13, and 14. What's the common statement? Looking for. Y'all have already found it. Expecting. What's another word? Haste. There you go. That's part of it. We're gonna deal with that side of it. When you're going to go on vacation and you do all that planning, what are you doing? What do kids do coming? They're looking for Christmas. They're what? Anticipating. What does that even mean? You can't wait. You're getting ready. You're looking for it. Is that our attitude about heaven? Peter said that's the kind of mind that we need to have when it comes to eternity. I hope tonight that you're saved, you know the Lord, and you're looking forward to it. Brother Brandon.
I was just a young